Have you ever wondered what exactly makes a green and sustainable city? Well, that's a big question and not one we can answer in 25 minutes. But on this week's edition of Eco Africa, we'll be exploring as many aspects of the question as possible. So welcome to the show. I am Sandra Kahumza Twinobdio, right here in Uganda.
The more people move to cities, the more important it is to make sure they are livable and future-proof. That involves everything from social and environmental factors to alternative mobility options. I am Chris Alems from Nigeria. Here's what is coming up. Why solar-powered vehicles made in Tunisia will soon be found in other African countries too. What do so-called heat officers do to help us cope with extreme temperatures? And how bicycles are taking over the streets of Kampala. Have you noticed that groceries have become a lot more expensive recently? You're not the only one. Climate change, the war in Ukraine, and the effect of COVID-19 are all contributing to escalating food prices. So what about growing your fruit and veg? We head to Johannesburg to check out a pioneering urban gardening project.
Nestled up to the high-rise offices of downtown Johannesburg lies Lawrenceville, but it's no high-income neighborhood. In South Africa, food prices rose by 14% this year, and residents here are barely scraping by.
Every day is hard. Sometimes they're rotten. As you can see, the green peppers. I see last time, I usually buy the box 35 rand. Last week I go there, I see the box, it was 75 rand.
As long as the petrol is going up, the food will surely go up. The food will surely go up. So, hey, managing nowadays, we have to cut.
One way out of the predicament could be urban agriculture. The Victoria Yards precinct in Lawrenceville is just one example of what could be possible in Johannesburg. At this revamped industrial site, Matsupiso Makabane wants to motivate urban dwellers to grow and process their own food.
This is beautiful. This is mint. It's very good. You can even put it on TV. Oh, I'm saying on TV. In your tea. I love tea so much.
Here, Johannesburg's self-proclaimed Green Lady heads the Green Business College, a place dedicated to inspiring people to get their hands dirty in the soil and make a living from it.
The green economy is big. So at the college, much as we cover all those sectors that I mentioned, we start with the low-hanging fruits. The low-hanging fruits, we start at the beginning, and the beginning is food.
For about €75, the college offers a 5-day workshop teaching skills to grow organic food, cook it, and preserve it. Today, Makabane is teaching her students to make pear chutney and how to pickle vegetables for storage. It's done with household staples like vinegar, sugar, or salt. But the Green Business College also goes beyond planting, cooking, and preserving.
We couple this training with business skills and exposure because we are a business college. And we also want them to be entrepreneurs, to just go beyond doing these chutneys for themselves.
I attended a compost class that taught me that you can also make a garden on the hard surface. You cannot say I don't have space. There's also tires. Actually, that's what I learned, that we can actually convert our waste into something productive.
South Africa can produce enough to feed its population, but in 2020, 1 in 4 households went hungry because of the rising costs. Making healthy food affordable was one reason Kolofelo Mpogo got into agriculture. He graduated from the Green Business College 4 years ago and now runs a small urban farm in the north of Johannesburg. The trained musician believes that people in cities need to relearn how to grow their own food. On his plot, he regularly teaches young locals basic farming principles.
I hope to see everyone not complaining about hunger anymore, because we'll take this to backyard gardens so that everyone has a smaller piece of what we have here, and then they start seeing opportunities, like, because, agriculture, permaculture, it has a lot of opportunities, there's so much money here.
Mpogo offers these courses for free. Today, another local woman has come to show how to make self-watering planters out of old plastic bottles to grow vegetables and herbs at home. Valuable green skills in hard times.
Our economy is falling, so with this, I can plant my spinach, my vegetables, I can eat at home. And they will all be healthy and fresh. DIY.
After training more than 2,000 students, it's success stories such as these that inspire Matsipiso Makabane to spread her green message.
Food is everything. That's where it starts. Everybody has to eat. COVID or no COVID, climate change or no climate change, poverty or no poverty, people have to eat. And everyone eats, including the president.
Each new garden plot and every gardening lesson do much more than just help people to meet their food needs. At the same time, the regained farming skills boost vital insect and plant biodiversity and air quality in urban areas, while spreading the seeds of local empowerment too.
Urban gardens are springing up all over the world, and that makes sense for several reasons. For example, they help reduce the amount of goods transported from elsewhere, and that cuts carbon emissions. So let's talk about the tremendous traffic we're facing in our cities. What can we do about it? We found out one solution in Tunisia. Here is this week's Doing Your Bit.
Congested streets are a fact of life in Tunis, the capital of Tunisia. And that means a lot of pollution. The city centre is teeming with delivery vehicles. If they were solar-powered, air quality would be vastly improved. A German-Tunisian startup has taken note and is manufacturing solar-powered three-wheelers. There's no need for charging stations because the vehicles have panels on the roof.
We choose the three-wheeler because the three-wheeler is very efficient and they don't consume a lot of energy. The weight is very light, and if the weight is very light and we have very small motor, very small electric motor of 1500 watt, if you put 500 watt panels, it fit together.
It's an ideal solution for Adnan Elouz, who has a wholesale business. He's bought one of the vehicles and has calculated that he's saving the equivalent of about €150 in fuel expenses a month.
With electric engines, the maintenance is very easy. There's no radiator, no oil change, almost nothing that needs servicing. And the engine is robust and very good quality.
The German-Tunisian startup has sold 146 solar-powered vehicles in Tunisia and is now planning to open branches in Saudi Arabia and then Lagos, Nigeria, where hopefully they'll soon be helping reduce pollution just as they are here in Tunis.
And how about you? If you're also doing your bit, tell us about it. Visit our website or send us a tweet. #DoingYourBit. We share your stories.
It would be a lot more fun to get around town in a vehicle that isn't adding more pollution to the air we breathe. Wouldn't it be great to see solar-powered three-wheelers replacing all the delivery vehicles on our streets?
It certainly would, Chris. That traffic congestion in our cities is caused mainly by private car users. Think how much emptier and safer the streets would be without them. Our next report from here in Uganda gives us a glimpse of what a car-free city could look like.
Sunday mornings often have less traffic in Kampala. An opportunity for Rosie Maweje to have a ride in the city. The 9-year-old is the youngest member of Fun Cycling Uganda, a group of local cycling enthusiasts.
Riding where there are no cars, it's fun and you can move. But riding where there are cars, you can't move and you have to stay in your line.
An affiliate of Critical Mass Uganda, Fun Cycling has about 100 members. The group regularly meets once a week to promote cycling as a sustainable fitness and cleaner mobility option.
You people should all cycle, because whenever you cycle, you're not polluting the air, you're not polluting the environment. There is no gas or any emission the bike is putting out. It's only your body, your legs, and your mindset.
But cycling side by side with heavy traffic on narrow roads can be dangerous. To address that, urban planners want city authorities to invest more in non-motorized transport infrastructure.
People shouldn't need to drive around their neighborhoods to go from home to church, to go from home to a shop, to the supermarket. These are journeys that can be easily made with non-motorized transport, even in the central business district. I think it's a recipe for creating smarter cities, more beautiful cities, but healthier population.
Kampala is now piloting the city's first car-free zone. The so-called NMT zone stretches for close to 2 kilometers, strictly for cyclists and pedestrians. Authorities are already seeing its benefits.
Roads are not built or constructed to move vehicles. Roads are constructed to move people. The moment roads focus only on vehicles and ignore people, then they are not safe. That's why we are saying, in all the interventions we are making as a government, there must be what you call NMT facilities.
It disturbs Rosie Maweje whenever heavy traffic pushes her on the periphery.
I feel scared, but one thing which you have to do, slow down but don't stop.
And as she completes her 20 kilometers for the day, Maweje wishes that infrastructure can be improved so that more people can join her for a ride.
Staying on the topic of traffic, in Germany, transport is responsible for 1/5 of carbon emissions. It is disastrous for the environment. So, what can be done to make it more sustainable? What are the alternatives? We found some interesting ideas and examples in Europe.
This is a delivery with a difference, with just a rippling sound accompanying Dirk Braumann as he navigates Berlin's canals. Every day he transports some 350 packets from the outskirts of the German capital to its central Westhafen port. The solar-powered boat is a trial by global logistics company DHL to get freight off the roads.
I think it's great that the company is running real tests and not just planning according to calculations. We're actually trying something out to see where the logistical problems are.
For example, this morning there were some technical issues at the lock and the forklift operator was late. The idea is eventually to automate loading and unloading. It's the sort of trend that fascinates Andreas Knie. The Berlin professor researches how to best move people and goods around. With cities all over the world clogged up with road traffic, the idea of cutting pollution and transport noise makes perfect sense to Professor Knie.
Until now, we haven't made the most of waterways as traffic and transport routes. We can do a lot more, so what DHL is currently doing is the right way to go. Emissions-free boats that are very quiet and don't make a lot of waves can be used both in cities and in the countryside. And we don't have any shortage of waterways.
In Berlin alone, there are some 200 kilometers of navigable waterways that could help reduce road traffic. It's a strategy that could work in many other cities too. Transport produces 1/5 of greenhouse gas emissions in Germany, at just 150 million tons in 2022. That's a long way off the 90 million per year maximum the German government says is required to help slow the effects of human-induced climate change. The German Environment Agency is therefore calling for speed limits of 120 km per hour on the Autobahn and 30 km per hour in built-up areas. By simply reducing vehicle speeds, Germany could cut 6 million tons of greenhouse gases every year. But what is standard practice around the world remains a very divisive issue in Germany. Mobility researcher Andreas Knie has his own theory as to why calls for speed limits regularly fail here.
It's basically everybody's fault here. We've all internalized the car lobby. Every new bike lane, every lost parking space and every speed limit discussion is seen as an attack on the German car industry, which everyone still thinks is the backbone of industry. If it went into decline, we'd all end up destitute. That's why Germany has such a hard time putting limits on cars.
What has worked are low-emission zones. Central Berlin is off-limits for diesel cars without particulate filters. Some places, such as Antwerp, Brussels and Ghent in Belgium, intend to ban diesel altogether by 2030. London has extended its ultra-low emission zone to cover some 1,500 square kilometres around the British capital. But heavy goods vehicles are often exempt from such zones, despite producing a quarter of emissions in the transport sector. Truck driver Eric Schulz is doing what he can to ensure fuel efficiency and cut down on pollution.
It's for the sake of the environment above all. Why waste resources when it's possible to use less fuel on the same route?
Today, Eric is taking part in a simulator training session. If he brakes too abruptly, for example, the route turns red. Proactive driving gets a white or green line. A number of haulage companies have their drivers train with this kind of simulator. As well as reducing a truck's fuel consumption, it cuts emissions and brake and tyre wear and can help save several thousands of euros a year. But Andreas Knie wants to see even more being done.
We'd gain even more if we finally switched from diesel to electric or fuel cells and hydrogen drive systems. You won't get very far just changing how you drive the truck itself.
Some regions of Germany are considering electrifying roads to cut truck emissions, similar to how electric train lines are run. But it's still in a test phase. For the time being, water transports make up just 0.7% of DHL's daily parcel volume. But the logistics giant says it's planning to introduce a larger boat, as well as further stops along Berlin's waterways. Dirk Braumann strikes an optimistic note as he approaches Westhafen with another delivery.
I think there's a lot of potential. One boat could replace 2 truckloads. That's definitely an advantage.
The process of unloading at the dockside takes just a matter of minutes. The parcels are then loaded onto electric vehicles to continue the journey to their final destination, in a silent vision of how deliveries could look in the near future.
Before signing off for today, would like to introduce you to 3 eco-heroes. They all live on different continents but share a common goal to raise awareness about the dangers of extreme heat and find ways to beat it.
Known as Chief Heat Officers, they are part of a group working on behalf of the United Nations who team up with municipal authorities to devise plans to keep us cool.
Heat waves basically affect our bodies and the ecosystems around us. They're the most dangerous extreme weather phenomena, and they send us to the hospital or they kill us.
This is Europe's first Chief Heat Officer. Her task is to find ways to protect citizens from the dangerous effects of extreme heat. As the climate warms and the frequency of heat waves dramatically increases, cities are appointing people like her to limit the dangers. We talked to 3 of them to find out how we can best deal with this new normal. What's coming our way, and what can we do to protect ourselves?
I started thinking of what I have to do in 3 pillars. The first pillar has to do with raising awareness.
Many of us aren't aware of just how dangerous heat can be, because heat is a silent killer. We don't see the effects of extreme heat as visibly as the physical destruction brought by hurricanes, floods, and other natural disasters. But extreme heat now kills up to 500,000 people worldwide each year. That's more than all other natural disasters that aren't due to the temperature. And the problem is getting worse, especially in cities, which are heating up at twice the global average rate because they trap heat more than non-urban areas. By 2100, cities across the world could warm as much as 4.4 degrees Celsius on average. So how do officials best sound the alarm and make sure people understand the gravity of the situation?
One of the things that we've done for raising awareness, which I think is really a game changer, is we have been categorizing heat waves for the first time in Athens this year.
It's a pilot project that was started in Seville, Spain and Athens, Greece, and will be adopted by other cities soon. It categorizes heat waves based on their effect on human health, much like earthquakes get categorized based on their intensity. The idea is to help people prepare and respond better. The city of Athens even developed an extreme heat app that's now also being used in Milan, Paris and Rotterdam.
We have an application called Extrema Global that shows you your personalized risk depending where you are in the city, and your age and your gender, and whether you have pre-existing conditions, and tells you also on the map where to go to take cover, where the cool spots are around you.
In a similar effort, Africa's first heat officer is currently creating a heat map for the city of Freetown.
What we're trying to do is to understand where are the hot spots, where are the urban heat islands, to better plan and prioritize resources.
Resources in Sierra Leone are limited, so Eugenia Carbo wants to focus on helping the most vulnerable people first. That includes female vendors who are exposed to the sun all day when selling their produce in uncovered markets without any shade.
So what we've done is to work together with those women and design a project which we call the Market Shade Cover Project. Basically, we use a material that is heat reflective, that doesn't absorb the heat, to provide a shade cover for the women.
Meanwhile, Freetown is currently cleaning up garbage sites and converting them into public gardens that are clean, safe and cool. They're also planting 1 million trees across the city so that Freetown eventually becomes Tree Town. Santiago de Chile is taking a similar approach.
We just fund a $2 million urban forest program. It's a really ambitious initiative that aims to provide with at least 30,000 trees for the city. We never had that in the past before.
Trees don't just provide shade and reflect the sun's rays back up, they also help lower the air temperature around them by essentially sweating. They take up water from the ground, which then gets put back into the air through a process called evapotranspiration. But they aren't the only form of vegetation that can help cool down the air. In places where there might not be enough space for new trees, streets and roofs can also be greened. Cities across the world, from Paris to London, Bangkok to Singapore, have started incorporating green roofs or living walls in their urban architecture. And Santiago de Chile is looking to do the same. Using nature-based materials with high solar reflectance is one idea. Another is going back to using light-colored materials for the outside of buildings, from walls to roofs, something that Southern Europe has been doing for a long time. And now, other cities across the globe can adapt that idea. Of course, climate change caused by carbon emissions is the real driver of extreme heat. We have to drastically cut our greenhouse gas emissions in order to prevent a catastrophic level of global warming. But experts say that even then, so much damage has already been done that we'll also have to learn to adapt.
Extreme temperatures have been recorded around the globe in recent months. If the trend continues as predicted, we'll be hearing a lot more from heat officers in the future. Now, one change we can all make to curb climate change is to go greener when it comes to mobility. I am Sandra Kahomza Twinobio, saying goodbye from Kampala, right here in Uganda.
Bye, Sandra, and do take care of yourself. See you soon. And that goes for all our viewers too. We'll be back with another show next week, so be sure to tune in then. And if you can't wait, you can always find us online and on all our social media channels. I'm Chris Alem signing off from Lagos, Nigeria. Bye.